Hi, Paul Howe, CSAT Way. Wanted to give you a little after action on a red dot instructor class that we ran in a transition for the red dot on a pistol. So we just finished it. I want to give it to you while it's fresh on my mind. Have all the documentation for the course. So the concept was we wanted to transition an agency. They needed to transition at a certain time, and they had this time window and these days available. So what we did is we brought in instructors, and initially it was 6 instructors, our senior instructor, and then myself. Now, 2-day courses. We brought in the agency 2 days here, 2 days here, took a day break, another 2 days. So we ran 3 2-day courses, red dots. Now, the instructors, what happens is they have to pass shooting standards, written test. They have to deliver a live fire demo and help teach new students. So had some issues there, and we'll talk about that. General stats. One instructor went home, day 2, COVID, no issues there. We trained over 52 students over these 6 days of training with the agency. Big thing I wanted to do was do a qual at the end. So we shot them for a day flat range, and then went into some little tactical modules and ran a qual, their standard qual that they use at their agency at the end of day 2. And we did it optic first and then irons. And we'll show you the numbers. It's really telling. So 36 instructor calls. One instructor passed the quals at 15. 4 instructors failed out of the 5, could not shoot the standards with a red dot. Red dot failures, we had 4 out of 52. So one, after 15 shots, red dot went out. The other 3 were windage adjustments or elevation adjustment. They were maxed out. We couldn't get it zeroed. We had set up a hard zero station that we could pull people over and shoot at 25, zero at point A and point impact at 25, but had issues. One front sight came off. They put new Ameriglow sights on, didn't lock tight the front sight. Usually we recommend red Loctite, and so that's an issue. They're going to go back and address that. Student stats, LEOs. So from probably 22 years of age to 70 plus. Great people, great attitudes. Some new LE, some on second career LE. So when you talk second career generation, these folks started out with revolvers, Weaver stance, and then average training they get maybe 2 times a year. Equipment was Glock 47, new holsters, Holosun red dot sight, issued 500 rounds per student, and then 2 training days to get them over the hump. This is the optic, the Holosun that was on all the weapons, same optic. Training issues, we started with low sequence, went through all our flat range, but also had to take them and rework them a little bit. We have folks that are still shooting Weaver. You see the grip issues and trying to get them over the hump. So teaching them how to use a red dot sight, how to look through it at the same time is huge. For a gentleman or a lady that's been shooting irons for 2 or 3 decades, there are training issues. Now, trigger press, that's one of the reasons I do like a red dot, is you can see what your trigger's doing when you press it. So that is a benefit to me on the red dot sights. Do holsters, adjustments, some were canted back, forward. We had to get that ironed out. So when they came, the next session came, they came with their holsters. We didn't have to mess with that on a flat range. Sun was the biggest issue. Our ranges are facing east, so when sun comes up in the morning, from about 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, it's hitting you right in the lens, and that caused a lot of shooters' problems. So that was a negative. I have not taken one of these red dots out at night with a car headlights to see what it does if it washes them out. This is something that you can play with and see. Training progression, flat range standards, our CSAT standards, they use those, and what they do is they modify them for hit factor and times. So day 2, we did everything from vehicle bailouts, lateral fire maneuver, throwing some tactical modules with the red dots. 1 shot on steel is 7 yards, just either presentations or draw to find that dot on demand. Industry industry types out there. Give you a couple suggestions. So I don't know too many folks out there in the industry. So if you watch this, first is used to have Benadine swabs in for medical in prepackaged, and they're already damp and wet. So you could do the same thing with Q-tips and lens solution. With these optics, what happens is it's a cup. People are taking their finger, whatever rag they happen to have that day, to clean the lenses. So as you do these red dot sights and make them, you may want to either include it or offer it on the side, cleaning solutions. So as a deputy or law enforcement officer or federal, whoever, they'll have to clean it every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Optics available. Those are the optic patterns on the right there. I call it the Death Star and then the dot. So I would take one of those reticle patterns and make it an iron sight reticle pattern. Why? We have decades of shooters that are transitioning to your dot. Why not make it easier for them? Start with a reticle pattern that looks like an iron sight and then switch to the dot. It can be a transition phase. Now, personal observation, 16 hours, 500 rounds is not enough to transition someone. And I'll get into the facts, figures, and numbers on this. LEO friends that are in the arena now that transition 3,000 rounds. So at least 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. And not at one time, over weeks or months. I have friends, personal friends that are shooters. 6 months is what they told me. It took to where they have confidence on that first shot. So there's industry folks out there. I watch the YouTube and just, pick and choose. One of them, good guy, 100,000 rounds a year. The rest of the world doesn't get to do that. Special ops guy, 40, 50,000 rounds a year. The rest of the world does not get to do that. So how do we get them over the hump and get them, we call them operational, so they can save their own life or their partner's life or a hostage on the street with this platform? So these are the things that are going to be telling. Now, for optic, fail out of 52. So here's what happens is, if you're one of those 4 people that they put a new sight on your weapon and it failed, you're not going to have confidence in it. So that's just something you may want to think about right there. You have to buy an overage because you will have failures with these optics. You're going to get broke, bumped, electronics may be faulty. And so as soon as that goes out, you're going to have to reissue an optic. That means Loctite the optic. They did a good job at that. None of the optics came loose, another 52. But there were 4 that we could not get zeroed. Now, recommendations to the lead of the agency. I said, hey, instead of doing 2 16 hours or an 8-hour, do at least 4 4-hour sessions a year. Then what we do is, I call micro sessions. A micro session is the training sergeant goes out to the range, sets up a mini scenario, brings in somebody off shifts, takes about 5 minutes, have them shoot, issue them new ammo, clean your gun at the end of the day, boom, and you're good. And so they can continually train folks, because this is what it's going to take to get comfortable with this platform. Individual officers, they need to check the dot every day and they need to clean it. Simple as it is. Talked to an officer this morning. He goes, here's the problem you're going to run into. You're on a traffic accident in the rain, an hour or 2 sometimes. It's going to get wet. And so you have to have the ability to clean it once you're done. You've got to still access the pistol, so it's going to be exposed to the environment. So something to think about. Observation students, the younger ones, more moldable. I don't know if it's playing video games, but just the dot is really simple for their brain to compute. So no issues there. Again, we address grip, stance, trigger reset, all the different things that you see on a range. Heat was a factor. It was like 90 degrees plus, humid. It's tempering down now, but it was brutal a couple days. So big numbers. This is the important stuff. These are the quals. So after 2 days, what we have is, did optic, 520, standards. 157 standards were failed. We went to irons, 520, 66 were failed. So those numbers don't lie. They shot better with irons after 2 days. So is 2 days enough? No. So we need to understand that if you're an agency, individual, you're going to have to give more training time. You're going to have to put more mileage in it. This is going to take more time to master, simple as it is. Now, equipment suggestions, looking through all of them, it looks like when you do the Ameriglow lows, they're great sights. It's in the lower quadrant of the optic. So what ends up happening there is it looks like there's distortion to me. I can still make the hits and we can still zero them, no issues. I like the suppressor height sights where it's co-witnessed with the dot. So if the dot goes away, the sights are in the same plane, nothing moves, your eye doesn't move, you just make the shot. So red Loctite, again, we do it all the time. All the front sights, Glocks, red Loctite, just get used to that. Make a iron sight reticle in the hollow sun unit, simple as it is. Use one brightness setting. We let them play with the optic, showed them all the different reticles, how to, switch, but we had them put it on one reticle setting that'll work daytime, nighttime. That's huge. And then from there, it should work across the spectrum. Big thing, if they're passing the quals with irons, let them shoot irons. Give them the option. And so, yes, you'll have some people shooting optics, some people shooting irons. To me, you need to do 2 quals with a red dot on a pistol, 1 irons, 1 optics. If that dot fails, then you need to use your irons. So you have to run 2 quals. That'll take more time, more ammo. You have to factor that in as an individual or an agency. All right, multiple sessions a year, clean, and I go back to you're going to have to clean these things and more maintenance, attention to detail. So agencies, you're going to have to invest more ammo, more training time. That means more training time on the ranges. So your training sergeants are going to be busy if you want these folks to make a first round hit in the same time or speed as a iron sights. It's going to take more time to master. The industry is going to push these products on you. It's just the way it is. Now, instructors, I'm going to save my harsh comments. I'm going to do a add-on to this on the Mighty Network. So if you're there, you're going to get another short video of the rest of the story. But 2 instructors, I'll give them an alibi because they came to the class. Holster didn't come in, so they couldn't really work all the different modules with the guns. And so they came in late to the party, so to speak. One instructor had a HK VP9L, Shadow Clone, and Staccato S. So all the guns seem to function, work, not an issue. They didn't come ready to shoot, and that's the bottom line. So the standards ate them up. There's different comments out there. Well, they're only B grade level, whatever. I don't really care. It's hard to pass. This is the most quals I think we've ever run that I can remember. So one of them passed, I want to say 15 at 35, 36. We still haven't picked everybody up. So is it lack of training with the dot? It could be a combination of factors. So 1911, if you're going to shoot 1911, you got to get intimate with it. If you push it out and you do not drop your safety on the ride out, then you're going to fail the drill. Simple as it is. So you have to really work that platform. One Shadow started to choke. Problem is lack of maintenance and lube. Simple as it is. I don't blame the platform. So out of 5 instructors, 1 passed. And so it is what it is. So those are the numbers. So hope this helps you. I'm going to let you know my feelings on the extended version here. But for you YouTube folks, this is what happened this last week. And numbers don't lie. So again, you have to make decisions on it. If you throw a piece of equipment at somebody, you've got to give them the training time. They've got to invest the training time. And is it really going to make them a better shooter for what that weapon is intended for? So hope this helps. You take care, be safe. For you Mighty Network folks, I'll see you in just a moment.